All right, thanks so much for sharing your garden with us. And right now, get your taste buds ready because we're going to talk tomatoes, and we have the expert with us. Bill Adams is joining us. Bill is a garden author extraordinaire, spent 30 years as an AgriLife extension agent in Harris County in Houston.
Right.
And you know your tomatoes, sir.
Well, I keep trying new ones every year. You know, I think once I find the perfect one for a BLT, I'll just grow that one from then on. That never works.
No,
I had about 50 varieties this year. So
50?
Yeah.
50?
Right.
Okay, you got to have it, sir. But it's a beautiful habit.
Not a bad
As
habit.
people can see from looking on the set today, you've brought a bucket of beautiful tomatoes with you. We're going to talk about different varieties, most of them heirloom. And we're also going to talk about uses for these, and also we're going to do a little taste testing. I'm going to taste some new varieties for myself, so I'm excited about this. Let's start by talking about these beautiful tomatoes we have here right in front of us. You've brought a variety of different kinds of heirlooms, and some of these are just gorgeous. And,
yeah, that's sort of a Cherokee purple looking one. It's actually a French variety called Marnero, but
beautiful plant. Fruit.
Cherokee purple's been very popular for a long time.
Yeah.
And it's one of the black tomatoes, they're sometimes called. They're not truly black, but they have sort of a purplish, dark purplish.
Dark purple, right.
And they're always rich and often have that underlying kind of smoky taste to them, and a little extra special treat.
Yeah. Now, and then, so they've got that heirloom heritage in them, right? So they're really flavorful. Let's talk a little bit about the production on this particular one. Tell me the name again.
Marnero is the variety. It's a new one. It was outrageously expensive. But Cherokee purple is very similar, and that's readily available. They're relatively easy to grow. I mean, this year we've had a lot of rain, so that's complicated things with most of them. But you get pretty good production on them.
Yeah, good.
And I don't use them in salsa all the time because they give it kind of a dark, old look, you know. But if I'm fixing them for me, I don't care. I know better because the flavor's there.
Right. Well, as I said, you brought a bunch of different varieties, and some of them are new varieties, some are old. This is one I want to show both sides of this to the folks out there.
It can be almost blue-black when it's fully ripe, but it's one of the green when ripe types.
Okay, and the other side is, just look at that fruit. It's beautiful. And tell me the name of this one.
It was called Black Green. It's one of Tom Wagner's varieties. He's the guy that developed the Green Zebra tomato.
Yeah, right.
And he's I guess he's an amateur breeder, but he's very active at it and grows lots of different varieties. So it's got some of the anthocyanin pigment in it, you know, the new Indigo series. And so.
And I understand we have some of that right here, right?
Yeah, now let's see. You're trying, that's a Cherokee. Okay.
This is the right one.
That's the one, the black-green one.
Okay, so I'm going to try some of this black-green.
All right, see what you think. It's not like something you'd fry. This isn't your green tomato in the fall that you fry up. This has got acidity, but it's got some nice complex sweetness too.
Absolutely.
You could have that on a hamburger, and you wouldn't say, "Oh well, it's midwinter, and I just went to the Burger Shack."
I don't want to eat all of these, but that one was tasty enough and made me want to eat everything on the plate right away.
And the Cherokee green is a nice big tomato. Well, you can see the cut in half.
Well, let's spend one more moment with the black green. So this is available for folks to try.
Yeah, it's not readily available. It may be more so. I got the seeds through a little seed company called Baker Creek that specializes in heirlooms. Probably on these newer varieties, you're going to have to grow them from seed.
Okay, now which one are we looking at here?
That is Cherokee Green.
Okay.
A Cherokee Purple.
Right.
You know, we kind of got it started. Now there's a Cherokee Green, a Cherokee Brown, a Cherokee Black, so forth. But the Cherokee Green is really nice. It would be great on a burger. Sometimes we go to the burger joint and we'll just say, hold the tomatoes. But we've got ours all sliced up in a little bag. And you slip those babies in there.
There you go.
It's a whole new experience.
You should have a tomato tasting bar somewhere, because the way you describe the flavor of that one I've already sampled was like somebody describing a glass of fine wine. So there's a parallel there. Now, this is the green, right?
Yes.
Okay, so this is Cherokee Green. Give it a try.
Your second green of the day.
Definitely different. Not as acidic.
Yeah.
Nice sweetness.
Yeah.
Really delicious. And both have really good texture, by the way.
Yeah, and the salsa's got some of the green ones chopped up in it too.
Okay.
I like to put some of the yellow and the greens to
Right.
to balance out the color.
Well, you pointed to the salsa. Next to the salsa over there is this little variety. And you really don't know what this is, do you?
No, we bought some tomatoes at the store last winter that were yellow, grape-like shaped, and they were so good. I scraped a few seeds out on a paper towel and started some in the greenhouse. It's one of the most productive little small tomatoes we've got in the garden.
And you use
and
it a
it
lot?
tastes good. What do you think? It's a little hard, but that was probably an advantage in packing.
Very sweet.
Yeah.
Wow, it's like a little flavor bomb.
Yeah.
I love it. You've brought a bunch of different things, and I want to highlight that. One thing is you have this beautiful bouquet of fresh basil.
Right.
And basils and tomatoes are like peanut butter and jelly, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What I did this year was I had a bunch of seed, and after I planted my tomatoes, I just threw some basil seed out in front. Well, it came up kind of thick, but when they were little plants, I would dig them up and space them. So I have a basil hedge around my tomato patch. And what we like to do with this, and we saw this recipe in one of the magazines or something, but we chop up the basil and we chop up some tomatoes, and put that in a bowl and add some extra virgin olive oil and some Italian spices,
a little garlic
if you like it.
Yeah, garlic, of course.
And then you leave that at room temperature for a couple hours, cover it with a wrap of some type. And then when you get ready to fix your supper that evening, you cook the pasta. It's nice and hot. You put this room temperature, fresh tasting tomato concoction on top of it, and it really makes a nice, fresh pasta dish.
You're not cooking everything all the way through, you're just pulling out that flavor.
That's right.
Yeah. Awesome.
And it's nice, it's got some acidity.
Well, in addition to bringing the basil along, we have a nice little display over there of homemade salsa, pico de gallo, and chips, and some of the chilies and tomatoes that have gone into that.
I see mouths watering out here right now.
What makes for a great salsa?
Good tomatoes. I mean, I can make an emergency salsa with Romas out of the grocery store if I have to. Put a little extra seasoning salt in it, maybe.
Yeah.
But if you've got tomatoes that taste good, sit down to a plate of slices and eat them with a little salt, and a fork, and go to town. Those tomatoes make great salsa, and you can get that fresh, complex sweetness out of salsa when you eat it. Of course, sometimes I get a little too much garlic in there, and it has an effect too. We have fresh jalapenos that you don't need too many for the home garden, 1 or 2 plants usually.
Right. They go pretty far.
Yeah.
Depending on
or
the
you
heat.
could can some. People can them, I guess. I think I brought a few cans, like pickles, and we canned some tomatoes, made some tomato sauce.
These are pickles.
Bread and butter pickles.
Bread and butter, you know.
I crop a lot of my stuff. I plant tomatoes, and then I'll have pole beans or cucumbers between them, because I have the cages spaced pretty wide. Or sometimes I'll use a tomato cage for a cucumber growing and things like that, and makes it more interesting to have the variety of different things.
Well, there's so many different things here, and we only have just a few seconds left, so I want to try one more tomato before we sign out here, because I'm hungry. And what are we looking at here?
Dora.
Okay.
Dora is a Cherokee Purple Brandywine cross.
Okay.
And it actually sets fruit pretty rapidly here in this climate.
Wow.
Got some sweetness, not enough acidity to be interesting.
Beautiful balance, big bursts of flavor on the tongue. Beginner's tomato. People want success when they're starting on.
Almost all of the cherry tomatoes, Sweet 100, any of those are good. They're very flavorful. If you want a cherry tomato, if you want a big tomato, the hybrid that even organic or heirloom growers like is Big Beef. So Big Beef would probably be a good hybrid to try. It'll make nice big tomatoes, but they're not all folded like some of the beefsteak types, and they're pretty productive.
Yeah, that's a good tomato.
Celebrity will grow. It's a little hard texture-wise to me. Better Boy's not bad.
Thank you for being part of this show. Coming up next is our friend Daphne.